I mean, exactly how we expected the game to go. It's how these games are. If you've watched these games over the last few years, it's competitive and really gritty. And I thought both teams played with great effort. Wasn't our best night offensively, that's for sure. But man, did we just dig down deep defensively. The second and fourth quarter, single digits in the Sweet 16 is hard to do. And that's something that's been consistent with who we are. We consistently play with great effort on that end of the floor and just kept ourselves in it. I mean, I'll be honest, I was a little worried down 11-0 if we would score at all in the game, but I don't think there's ever been a shutout in the tournament, so I felt pretty good that we could score at some point. And just the two up here, man, were they huge difference makers for us. I thought Vanesa changed the game when she came in. Just her fearlessness attacking and the ball screen action to get to the rim and just loosen up their defense and give us some confidence. And then her composure running the team was huge. And then Oluchi, continues to be an impact player on both ends for us. I thought her 2 threes in the first half were big to give us confidence, and then I thought obviously she carried the day with the rebounding, 12 boards today, and we needed those. We were getting out rebounded at the half, and we kept talking in the timeouts about trying to turn the tide in our direction. So really proud of these two. They led the way for us to get to the next round.
Okay, we'll take questions for players, and we'll start right in the back right.
Yeah, Mitch Northam, SB Nation. Oluchi, an 11-0 hole in this type of game can be a pretty big one to dig out of, but you guys were able to do it. What was kind of the refocus or sort of the conversations and what got you guys back into the game and then to go up by double digits?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for one, we all understood that we've been here before. And with our connectivity, we're able to climb out of any deficit if we just refocus on what we need to do. Rebounding. Our defensive abilities, just cracking down on the details some more. So really that was just our focus. Just keep doing us. Keep doing what we have to do, and we're going to chip away.
Front.
Hi guys, Sarah Tidwell with USA Today. Question for both of you. Obviously every win is sweet, but is this one a little bit sweeter knowing it's against your longtime state rival?
Vanessa, if you will take that question first.
Okay. Yeah, I think for us, I think what makes it even more sweet is just that we're moving forward to a game that could potentially get us, to the Final Four. And, we want to beat and play whoever we have to play. And at the end of the day, we're just happy to get this win and keep moving forward.
Oluchi, if you will answer.
Yeah, of course, being a part of this rivalry is great. They're such a talented team. So obviously to be able to play a great game on a big stage like this, to go to the Elite Eight, it was awesome.
Michael Vopel, ESPN.com. Oluchi, can you talk about what it takes to play defense under Coach Lawson's system? Because it looks really taxing, but you guys seem to have perfected it. Can you kind of give us that inside view of what that's like to do what you guys were able to do out there today defensively?
Yeah, for one, I think maybe a misconception with defense is that there's some sort of detail, which details are a part of it, but most importantly, it's your want. You either want to play defense or you don't. And I think just playing under Coach, she's done a great job in creating this culture where we want to, because it's such a big part in how we win, and really just shows that with our defensive mindset, it's all heart, and it's all playing for one another.
We'll go to the front.
Destiny Juice Network. I've been following you ladies pretty much most of the season. What can you say about this win over the rest of the wins?
Yeah, I think just for us, again, it just shows how much this hard work since the summer over all these days have kind of paid off. And, last year we came short in this game. So for us, it was about coming back to this moment and being ready. And I think we did as a whole team. And I'm just really proud of our group.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little bit of deja vu because obviously last year we came to Sweet 16 too. And after we unfortunately fell short of that game, we all knew that we wanted to come back but get further. So to be able to accomplish that today is it's a blessing.
Go to the front right.
Branch, USA Today. Oluchi, for you, Another great game for you tonight. Obviously, with the 12 points, 12 rebounds. What were you kind of seeing offensively and on the boards that allowed you to have success?
That's a good question. I mean, for one, I knew that we were getting out-rebounded at a time, so I just knew every time the shot goes up, I need to go in. That's what my team needs for me to win. And as for offensively, I just kept running the floor. I kept just putting up the shots, and I'm confident in taking that my team and my coach is confident in me taking.
Right here to the right.
All right, Miles Pawicki, the Duke Chronicle. Oluchi, so throughout the season, you've kind of talked about how much kind of, like, we've all talked about how energy kind of, like, is one of the main parts of your play style. But today there was just a lot of moments where it seemed like you were the first one up and down the court, and, like, especially when the starters kind of got into a hole early, it seemed like whenever the bench got on there, like, the energy that the bench brought was really contagious. And kind of, Oluchi, can you kind of talk about that, how you bring energy? And Vanesa, can you talk a little bit about how, as kind of the point guard off the bench, it's kind of your job to manage the energy?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think, like you said, like for myself, coming in, I know the games that had a lot of ups and downs at that moment, and for me, it's kind of just bringing that composure, being a vet and having played in these big games. I think I understand what we need as a team, just staying together, and that's kind of my role. And as you said, I just came out there and kind of kept that composure.
Yeah. I think for me, while I do bring energy, I am someone who feeds off my teammates. And I really fed off of V today. I mean, she was incredible. And just seeing what she was doing just revitalized me, and it just made me even more aggressive and more hungry to get what I needed to get done.
One here to the left.
Kennington Lloyd Smith III with The Athletic. This is for both of you. Thinking back, what was it about Coach Lawson that made each of you want to play for her and to reach the Elite Eight with her? What does that mean to you both?
So my want to play for Coach, it definitely came from knowing that she was going to push me. And I mean, I'm sure you guys hear that all the time, but with Coach and the energy that I sensed from her was she meant it. She meant every word, that every day in practice, she is going to push you to get your best out of you. And I mean, she has not fallen short on that commitment to me, and I think that's why I'm here, why we're all here, because she's done that with each of us individually.
Yeah, same as Luch, but I guess for me personally, Coach, as a point guard, just her wisdom, having played at every level, having coached at every level, I think that kind of wisdom and that experience is something that I really look forward to learning from. And she's a great mentor for all of us, and I think that's a big part of why we want to play for her.
We'll go to Zoom. Any questions on Zoom? Any more questions in here for the players? Ladies, you're dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take questions for Coach Lawson. We'll start right here in the front.
Hey, Kara. Sarah with the USA Today Network. I know I asked the girls, but I want to know from your perspective. Is it a little bit sweeter knowing that you defeated your in-state rival today to get to the Elite Eight? Or is it just a win is a win, opponent's opponent, you just keep knocking them down?
We've been I think what you're chasing is always more important than who you have to go through. Think about it. What you're chasing has to take precedence over who you have to go through. And so we try to focus on that. We have great respect for them and great respect for every team we've played, but I've always felt like that focuses you in best to do your job, to not worry about who, just worry about what you need to do to win. So that's kind of been our mindset every game. And I think that keeps you locked in the way you need to be locked in this tournament. So we're pleased to get the win. I'm sure our fans are happy because, it's obviously very heated. And so I guess back home, there's some backyard bragging rights maybe for our Duke fans in Durham. But, I can't say that I felt more elation going to shake hands because of who we played. It was because of what we just did, which is reach the Elite Eight.
Going to the front right here.
Hi, Coach. It's Destiny with the Juice Network. Coach, I've asked you this throughout the season. What are you going After this win, what are you going to tell your ladies going into the Elite Eight after this sweet victory?
We just try to stay really process-oriented with what we need to do next. We obviously don't know who our opponent will be. There's a great game about to start. But once we find that out, we'll go to work tonight and start to watch film and or start to put film in front of them, obviously, and then come up with a game plan and then work on getting that down as best we can in the short turnaround here to play on Sunday. And it's what we did last weekend, and it's what we did at the ACC tournament. So it's pretty formulaic for them at this point. They have an understanding of what needs to be done physically and mentally to be prepared for the next game.
To your right.
Anna Snyder, USA Today Network. Your girls were really big off the bench tonight, outscored UNC 26-6. Just talk about the importance of that depth off the bench, especially in games like this when you guys were down 11-0 early.
If you followed us all year, the bench has been pivotal. I don't know where we rank in bench points and things like that. I don't follow stats like that, but I know that we consistently have the game changed by players off the bench, and it's different ones. Most people around the country probably didn't have DeJesus on the bingo card today. They just probably didn't, but we did, and we know what she's capable of, and she can change and win games for us. And I have such great belief in all of the 10 players in my rotation, and I know that they can change games. And so our bench has won us a ton of games this year, and they continue to give us good minutes. I thought Cable's minutes in the first half, she comes in and makes 2 big-time defensive plays. And those are winning plays, man, and they make a difference, and they add up. I thought, Wood came in and got to the free throw line and rebounded and then hit that high post jumper on the flash against their sagging D. Like, there's all these moments that, I always go back and think about, and I've seen them do that and make plays against teams all year. So that helps us. It helps us to have depth, whether we have foul trouble or whether we just have a player who's not playing as well. It is a luxury to have depth, and they really root hard for one another too. So that's a nice part of it.
Here on the aisle.
Michael Vopel, ESPN.com. Coach Lawson, can you reflect back on summer of 2020, taking over a program in the midst of the pandemic? You guys were forced to have to cancel most of that next season, and here you are now in the first Elite Eight in 12 years. Just that journey for you and for your program.
Yeah, it's when we got to Duke, there was a lot that we needed to rebuild, and it started, just with how we were going to play and try to build an environment that is competitive. Was my first charge. Create like competitive environment each day, and then you obviously have to recruit talent, and so we started talking to players. My first conversation with Fournier was the summer of 2020. My first conversation with Donovan was the summer of 2020. Ashlyn. We really targeted the young high school players that we felt fit who we wanted to be. Who do we want to be? And we always tried to look at it through that lens. We knew we weren't very good right then, but who do we want to be? And so we recruited, tried to sell some of the top talent in the country that we would be good at some point. And I have a lot of love and respect for those players because we weren't good then, and we were competing and recruiting against the top programs that were good, that were going to Final Fours, that were winning national championships. And those kids made a choice, a conscious decision to say, hey, I think Duke could be something. I think they could compete at the highest level. I know it won't happen right away, but I feel like Coach and her staff can help us get there. And they all made the choice. The players that are sophomores and juniors made the choice for Duke when we weren't in the tournament and we weren't going to Sweet 16s. And I'll be forever grateful to them for that. But we just worked hard in recruiting and tried to get as many players that fit how we wanted to play. And we're lucky that we were able to get so many to come.
Right here to your left.
Kiana Nelson-Shine, The Athletic. How do you keep your morale up? Looking back to maybe even this morning getting dressed, was there a certain song on your playlist that really kept your energy afloat? As a coach, you're constantly pouring into your players, but how are you pouring into yourself?
Well, I took a morning walk with my sister this morning. I like to walk on the mornings just to relax. You're gonna find out how boring I really am in this answer. So here we go. Buckle up. I walked. I don't listen to music that much. It's not something that gets me going like that. And I like to spend time alone in thought to prepare for what not necessarily visualize, but sequencing, go through the game and what could happen, and being ready as a coach of what move I want to make if this move happens and that move happens. And so you're kind of forecasting what are the potential things that could happen in the game and making sure that you're prepared. And then I'll usually draw some plays. I have the board, and I'll do that for a while. Make sure I'm efficient and my letters are legible. You don't want to be in a moment, it might be a 30-second timeout late in the game. You need to make sure that you're writing legibly so that they can see it and they can understand where they need to go. So I'll practice my penmanship on the board and then eat and come to the game. It's pretty much what I do.
Kennington Lloyd Smith III with The Athletic. You mentioned process earlier. In the process of building this program and understanding that it's still ongoing, what have you learned about yourself as a head coach, and what's necessary to sustain a winning program?
Oh, I guess I've learned that. I don't know what I've learned. Okay, here's what I know. I know I'm built for this. So I haven't learned that. I knew that when I took the job. I know I'm built to do this job at a high level. So I haven't learned that about myself, but I've learned that how to be more efficient through that process of building a team through the course of a season. And then all the decisions that you have to make, I think I've become clearer and more efficient at making them, because there's a lot of decisions in this seat that you have to make on and off the court. And when you haven't been a head coach before, you're making them for the first time. But then the second year you make them, you're better at it. And the third year you make them, you're better at it. And you start to see more of the nuances of them instead of just that. And the decisions don't overwhelm you as much. They're expected now. And so that's important in this seat, because there's just a lot of decisions to be made. And you can't allow all the decisions to overwhelm you. So staying clear, and I think I've gotten more clear in what I want and how I want to do it. And then once I fixate on that, I'm pretty good at just doing that. I get focused on it. So hopefully that answered it.
Final question here to the right.
Cameron Teague with The Athletic. You're coaching in an era where it's obviously very normal when players don't see something go the way they want. They get out and leave, right? But you have a deep team, and a lot of these players talk so much about the confidence you instill in them. I'm curious where that comes from you. Is it something you learned from Pat, and how that developed as you grew as a coach as well?
Yeah, that definitely comes out of Coach Summit. That's exactly, if I would say the most important thing that I took from her. I took hundreds of things from her. How could you not, right? One of the greatest coaches in any sport in our country's history. I took a lot of things, but the thing that I felt was one of her superpowers was her ability to connect with her players and her ability to really get in there with them, get in the struggle with them, and stay in the struggle with them, and work to help them get out of it. Not just tell them what to do, but be in there with them, instructing them. So that's something that I think I've grown in. I don't think I was bad at it at first, but the more you're around players, because they have different personalities, so you can't cookie cutter your approach. How I get in there with V is different than Oluchi, because they're different personalities. How you get in there with Reagan is different than Ashlyn. And so I spend a lot of time thinking about them and thinking about what's the best way to get them to play their best. And when you spend time, so to me, relationships are time over time. It's you spend time over time with someone, and that's how you build trust. a position doesn't give you trust. Just because I'm a head coach, that doesn't mean they're going to trust me. And so if you think that positions give you trust or give you respect, then you're going to be a poor leader. Time over time, spend time with them, as much time as you can, in groups and individually, and learn about them. And then when you do that, they give you everything, you know, because you have to be the first one to give everything as a coach. And so when they wake up every day, I want them to feel, not just know, I want them to feel that they have a coach that's going to give them everything and wants them to succeed. And so that's what we do for each other, and that's our connection. And we're so connected that way, and that doesn't mean it's great all the time. We have hard conversations, we have tears, we have disagreements. That's actually normal in a relationship, isn't it? Like, it's normal to have disagreements. It's normal to be frustrated with each other. It's normal. Like, that's a part of it. Conflict's a part of it. And so we work through it together. And we're willing to sit in there and work through it together. And that creates the bond. And then if you can create that bond, then this becomes so much more enjoyable to see them get themselves to an Elite Eight. It was really cool to watch.